All right, hello. This is Bronson with Bronson's By Any Means Necessary Fantasy Sports Talk for Thursday, September 9th. The NFL season does start today. I think we're all really excited for that. I had a hard time meeting my 30-team quota this year. I had a couple of leagues just didn't renew, So I really thought filling 30 was going to be easy, but no, I had trouble with it. I had to marathon through 3 drafts yesterday just to get there, and I probably should have prolonged one, put one off to today, trying to do one today, but yeah, got my 30. We're good. I did not get Justin Herbert as much as I wanted to a quarterback, but I did get Justin Herbert in 3 of my last 5 drafts, so I guess I'm satisfied. He was my quarterback target in every single draft. I just didn't get him. But I'm pretty happy overall with my team. There's one team I drafted on Yahoo yesterday. They awarded me best draft. Yahoo does that. I kind of like how Yahoo grades the drafts, gives you stuff like that. It's kind of cool, something cool, little 5-minute read. They gave me best draft. I felt like I feel like I got screwed at wide receiver. Like every wide receiver guy I was targeting with my next pick, I would get sniped. Right before I got the pick, it was ridiculous. I had to reach for Michael Thomas, who's my wide receiver 3. He's gonna be out for half the year. Really the only wide receiver I got that I wanted was Keenan Allen. After that, I was kind of just in desperation, in just survival mode to get wide receivers. I got 3 rookies. I got Jamar Chase, Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore. Hoping one of those guys pops. A couple of those guys pop. Like I said, I got Michael Thomas. I got Curtis Samuel, who knows when he's going to play, but he should be pretty reliable when he does get on the field. And hoping for a Mecole Hardman breakout. I'm just not real thrilled with my wide receivers, but the rest of my team, pretty solid. Definitely, I think I'm going to be competitive. I did get Justin Herbert in that league, so I got the Justin Herbert Keenan Allen stack, which is pretty cool. I think Marvin Jones Jr. was the other wide receiver guy. I drafted 7 because I didn't feel like I had quality ones, so I just went out and just grabbed as many as I could get there late at the end of the draft. Got my 30 drafts. Real quick, last piece of advice I'm going to give you before the season starts. Don't overthink these things. I'm seeing a lot of people asking questions. Which quarterback should I start here in week 1? Which defense should I start here in week 1? Defense, a little bit more slack. You want to try to get one of the better defenses, but that's why I recommend you carry 2, because the matchup isn't always going to be good. You're going to want someone to slide in there. You're going to want to play the matchups a lot more with defenses than you are with your skill position players. But quarterbacks, if you draft one of the stud quarterbacks in the first 6 rounds, if you reached for that quarterback in the first 6 rounds, you start that quarterback week 1. You start your studs in week 1. Don't overthink it. Start your studs, okay? If you drafted, let's see, the big question is Justin Herbert, because people think that he might struggle in Washington with the Washington football team. If you drafted Justin Herbert, you need to start Justin Herbert week 1. Don't start the guy you drafted 6, 7, 8 rounds later in week 1, because that's not why. That's specifically why you drafted the quarterback that high. Or Dak Prescott, another guy people are thinking to struggle tonight against Tampa. But you drafted that guy to start that guy every week. The only time you're going to want that backup is for injury insurance and bye week insurance. Unless you're in a 2 QB league, that's a different story. But start your studs, okay? Start your studs. Anyways, couple of undrafted running backs. I didn't really get time or make the time to talk about this at the end of my running back video, so I'm going to do it now. Undrafted running backs who you should consider putting on your roster. One guy, his situation has changed considerably here in the last couple of hours, and we're going to talk more about that later, but we're going to start with some other guys. Ramondre Stevenson of the Patriots. I kind of touched on that at the end of my video with my running back preview, but Ramondre Stevenson, I think, from what I've seen in the preseason, and I know preseason is, you can't take too much salt from preseason, but I think Ramondre Stevenson looked like a much more dynamic runner than Damian Harris has. I don't think Damian Harris is anything special. I think Damian Harris is a guy who, with Cam Newton gone, he's going to get a lot of goal line touches. I think that's what he's going to be good at, red zone stuff, goal line touches, short yardage stuff. I think Ramondre Stevenson just looks like a much more dynamic guy who's going to eventually supplant Damian Harris as the main running back in that offense. And with the Patriots, trying to predict the running backs in that offense has been ridiculous ever since they really haven't had an alpha guy since Corey Dillon was there early on in the Tom Brady years. But they still don't. Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, that's going to be a situation to monitor pretty much all season. Also, Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman is a guy that's getting massively disrespected. He's number one on the depth chart for the Jets right now. Tevin Coleman has shown glimpses in the past. His only concern is he going to be able to stay healthy? But I'm not a big believer in Michael Carter at this point in his career. He's a fourth-round pick. He's kind of a situational guy. He's going to be more like a Tarek Cohen kind of guy to me. But obviously, I think he's a little better than Tarek Cohen, bigger than Tarek Cohen. But I don't think Michael Carter is going to be ever going to be a feature back in the NFL. I think his max level of production is going to be like Kenyon Drake. So I think Tevin Coleman, for now, is the guy in that backfield, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be able to hold that spot for at least this year, as long as he remains healthy. Also, Mark Ingram, Philip Lindsay in Houston. We haven't seen anything from David Johnson in a few years. We've seen a lot more lately from Mark Ingram and Philip Lindsay than we have from David Johnson. I don't think that they brought those guys in. I honestly thought David Johnson was going to get cut. I did not see David Johnson coming into the regular season as the starting running back for the Houston Texans. I thought he was going to get cut. I thought it was going to be an Ingram-Lindsay split. So we'll see. It's going to be a three-headed monster. How that plays out, we have no idea. But if you're looking for a roster spot to fill because of an injury to somebody who we may mention here later on in this video, you can do worse than Ingram and Lindsay, taking your 50-50 chance on one of those guys. And lastly, Carlos Hyde of the Jaguars. I know James Robinson, we all kind of assume James Robinson's a guy, and I think James Robinson, with the way he played last year, has to be the guy, right? But you can't understate Urban Meyer and that Ohio State connection that he has with Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde is still a pretty good running back. I honestly have no idea why Carlos Hyde has been discarded by so many teams. I thought he was a good running back in San Francisco. I thought he's been a good running back everywhere he's been. He's a guy who should have been a starter for a little bit longer in his career than he has been. I don't think he's a bad runner at all. I think Carlos Hyde is going to definitely have a role in Jacksonville this year. He's going to eat into James Robinson's work a little bit. I still think James Robinson is a worthy running back too, but Carlos Hyde definitely is a guy who's worth being on your bench at the end of your bench for depth purposes, especially if James Robinson should get hurt. Carlos Hyde immediately steps into the running back 2 conversation. And Carlos Hyde, I think, though he's not the top handcuff on the market, I do think he is, for those of you who like to carry handcuffs, Carlos Hyde is definitely a guy to consider. That's it. And lastly, Tyson Williams, who now is the starter in Baltimore as of a couple of hours ago. Gus Edwards tore his ACL, just like J.K. Dobbins did. So Tyson Williams looks like the starter in Baltimore now for the foreseeable future, because I don't see Le'Veon Bell or Devontae Freeman, 2 washed-up guys they just signed. So planting him as a starter, it's Tyson Williams' job to lose. It was very fortuitous for me because I actually just added Tyson Williams in my draft, where I think I told you this. I auto-picked a whole team because I took a nap, right? And it's a draft where it was with a sports group that I'm involved in on ESPN or on Facebook. So I really wanted to make a good showing in the draft. Auto-pick didn't screw me. I actually liked auto-pick a lot. But anyways, I put in a waiver claim for Tyson Williams back on Monday night after the draft, because I just wanted a little bit more running back depth, because I had drafted me 2 kickers, so I immediately dropped the kicker. That gave me a roster spot, right? I also had Tom Brady, and I'm not going to own Tom Brady again. You guys know the story, right? Any quarterback that scores me negative points in fantasy football is not ever going to be on my roster again because that's just ridiculous. So Tom Brady got dropped, so I created 2 roster spots. So I added another wide receiver because I only have 3, and I put in a waiver claim for Tyson Williams just because I just needed some more running back depth because even though I have good starting running backs, I wasn't crazy about the backups. The backups I had were young guys who are, basically handcuffs, and that's what Tyson Williams was supposed to be. But he was the best option on the waiver wire in my opinion. So I put in a waiver claim for him on Monday night. All right, it took till this morning, early this Thursday morning, I think around 1:32 a.m. My time to clear. And now he's a starter in Baltimore because Gus Edwards tore his ACL. So that was a very fortuitous move for me. And yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty blessed in that league right now. Knock on wood. That was pretty much the best scenario I could have ever envisioned for an auto pick. I'm really happy with that roster now that I've taken it to completion and I'm ready for the season. But yeah, unfortunately for Gus Edwards owners, I just drafted Gus Edwards in the draft last night. He was my flex for the week. Now I'm scrambling to try and replace him. Waivers in that league are supposed to clear sometime today, but as of the filming of this video, around 2 p.m.-ish, they hadn't cleared. So I don't know when they're going to clear. I'm assuming since the draft was concluded at around 7:40 p.m. Pacific time last night, that's probably around the time they'll clear. So we obviously can't get anybody who's playing in this game today. So I wasn't able to add Ryan Suckup at kicker because I need a kicker. But yeah, I'm not dropping Gus Edwards yet because I have multiple injured reserve spots. I'm going to move Gus Edwards onto there, but I am still trying to drop because it's an IDP league. I have some backup defensive players who I can drop easily to add another running back. I'm hoping to get Tyson Williams, but I also have other waiver options out there that I'm put in for. Confident I'll get one of them. Really hoping for Tyson Williams though. And then before Sunday, I'll add myself a kicker after waivers clear. After Gus Edwards gets ruled out officially, I'll add a kicker at that point. I'm not in any hurry. I wanted to suck up. He was the best kicker available, but I'll have to wait till week 2 to get him if I decide I still want him. There's still plenty of other decent kickers options out there, and I just need them for week 1. I'll stream kickers all season if I have to. It's not that big of a deal to me. Kickers are not important, as I've said many times. Kicker lives don't matter. Unless they're black kickers, which I've yet to see a black kicker. So only black kicker lives matter. White kicker lives do not matter. And lastly, baseball, a little bit of baseball talk. It's Shohei Ohtani day tomorrow. Shohei Ohtani will be on the mound for the Angels against the Astros. Not the best matchup, but Shohei Ohtani has dazzled us all season. I don't think that's going to change now. I think he's going to go out there and deliver an exciting performance. I honestly wish that I had been able to get up to a Mariners game when the Angels were in town. I would love to have seen Shohei. Like, even if he didn't do anything, even if he didn't pitch, I just wanted to witness that history because even though he's been great this year, he very well could never do this again. The Angels could go back to having him primary just DH or move him strictly to pitcher. This could be a one-year thing for him, so I wish I could have witnessed that history in person. But unfortunately, when I went up there, the Angels were not in town. The Angels were in town like a couple days before that, I think. So I had to watch the Astros, which was fine. To boo the Astros, it was kind of nice. I don't have a whole lot of good streaming options for you. I'm kind of relaxing in fantasy baseball this week just because I'm just mostly just trying to get prepared for football, just trying to finish out my draft. But also because the playoffs are kind of a tweak thing in most of my leagues, and I don't want to use too many pitchers in the first week. I want to have as many pitching starts because you get 24. You get 12 per week, right, in a normal week. But since it's a 2-week thing, you get 24. I want to have as many possible starts in week 2 and less in week 1. So I'm just kind of relaxing, taking it easy. But if you do feel the need to stream a pitcher tomorrow, my only recommendation is Daniel Lynch of the Royals at the Twins. So even though that's not even the greatest option either, there's a lot of other pitchers out there who are you know, there's just nothing good. All the good pitchers aren't really in the streaming tier, or the ones who are just don't have the best matchups. I know, real quickly, I want to talk about Kyle Hendricks. He's not having the greatest year, for him anyways, for his standards, but really, if you look at the numbers, he's still, I wouldn't say one of the better pitchers in fantasy, but he's still, good enough pitcher in fantasy that we should be owning him still, but really, he's put up a lot of duds this year. I don't know how he's still having such a overall good year, but even though the Giants are really good, that's who he's pitching against tomorrow. I think Kyle Hendricks, I just have a hunch. And I was right last time with Merrill Kelly. I'm hoping I'm right this time. Kyle Hendricks is going to have a good day against the Giants tomorrow, so don't be afraid of starting Kyle Hendricks tomorrow. All right, that's the whole video. I am going to hopefully go and spend some time with my new lady friend here after this video. But if not, I will definitely be watching Tampa Bay go demolish the Cowboys tonight. Real excited that football season is back. Fortunately, I'm going to be working Sundays, or most Sundays this year again, but I'll always be following on my phone. And luckily, I work in a bar, or work around bars. I spend enough time in a bar that I'll be able to catch football when I'm up there. So I'll just have to spend more time up in the restaurants now, won't I? So, as always, have a blessed life. Have a blessed day. Good luck in your leagues. Good luck in your playoff baseball matchups. Peace, love, and nacho fries, my friends. Namaste.